Welcome to the show. This is Tyhson Banighen, the energy detector, the illuminator, bringing you and humanity into the light. And today we're returning for the Esoteric Principles of BodyBuilding with Batista Gremaud, who is our host and guest of this show, all 13 episodes. And we have a special guest today, and that's her husband, Stephen, who we're going to bring on to the show right now. So stand by. So welcome back, Batista.
Thank you. And again, I'm excited to be here and share all this wonderful information with you. And I'm excited for Stephen, Dr. Fitness USA, the one and only international body designers, world renowned, to share with you this amazing information about relationships and how your fitness and specifically bodybuilding can help enhance long-lasting relationships. So I decided to have him come on the show to discuss all these wonderful information because he's actually the one that taught me all this. And what I want to say is that he walks his talk. Okay, so even if some of the things may sound different, or you go, oh well, maybe that's not too, there's a lot of women that are very feminist and that might not be too open to these ideas. But I want to invite you to really listen with an open heart and an open mind, because when you actually practice these principles, it will change everything about your relationship. And trust me, because I know, because I use all these advices, is you might just get a better deal in your relationship. So,
And who doesn't want that?
Hey, who doesn't want that, right?
Exactly.
So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Fitness USA, Stephen Hercy, also known as Dr. Fitness USA, international body designer, world renowned, to share with you how to create an orgasmic relationship that sustains the test of time.
Okay.
Here he is. Welcome to the show, Stephen.
As they say, the camera's rolling. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm very excited about this topic. This is, male-female relationships. And, for a lot of people, they don't understand that the gym would have anything to do with male-female relationships. And neither did I until I started to meet you and work with Batista. So this is an exciting topic to discuss. So how did you come across this concept of knowing that the balance between males and female could actually be improved in the gym?
Well, we're working on two concepts. One is posture realignment, and second of all is strengthening the nervous system. And since I'm 70, and this has been documented for over 40 years, when we took an individual and subjected them to the prescription strength training program, and we verified it by the weights they use, by photos, and by who they eventually became. So we always found that the person could be 80% more following a prescription strength training program. So today, what's very interesting is that it's a whole new generation. And it means two things. One is we used to use a flip phone to now we have an iPhone or Android phone. Before, we had personal training gyms. We had gyms that were ill-equipped. And the world was more at the feet of doing, before it was running, then it became yoga, then it became Pilates. Today it's cross-training. But the gym today, or scientifically, it's proven that when you do strength training, you can improve the quality of your life. So when we go to a gym, I won't mention which one, the younger people in their 16s, 20s, early 30s, they all gather at the gym and they actually work out. And because of their youth and the recuperability that their body allows them, they do everything. But the main part of it is that the gym usually has $500,000 worth of equipment to shape your body. Now, if we fast forward, now the people in their 40s or 50s or 60s, some of them are still going to the gym, okay? But the majority of working women are still doing yoga, which uses different muscle fibers. Now, there's a different way of looking at it. You can't compare doing yoga, which is a different, it doesn't mean it's not valuable, which is a different form of exercise, against $500,000 worth of equipment to shape your body. So would you like to sit in a lotus position or in a meditate position and dream that your body's going to change when the other person is going to a real gym using $500,000 worth of equipment? There's no comparison.
So explain that. Explain that. So, I mean, most people think doing yoga, you know, it's esoteric. It connects me to my higher self. I learn how to meditate. I mean, this is if we go back to the Indian tradition, right? That it's got an esoteric principle. I think part of what you're saying is that yoga today has just become another fitness fad. It's not necessarily connected to its roots, which is back to India, which was really esoterically connecting you to your body.
You're 100% right. So you got it. But most people don't get it. The thing is because if you're talking to a woman that's been involved with yoga or they're not working out at all, then they actually have lost touch with who they are. So an example would be a woman would come to the office and she'd be having a conversation with me. Well, there's two ways of doing it. We can take some photos and see exactly how the body has regressed and how it could be different if they switch to strength training. So they always ask me about diet, aerobics, stretching, and I say, stop, that's all a myth. You actually have to rebuild the house or the foundation to the house before you start to furnish it. So all these things will come into play in your life as important, but you're trying to furnish the house without addressing a strong foundation. So I've created a strength training program that addresses the very foundation of who they are. That means if you wanted to learn to do ballet or you want to be a great actor, you would follow their rules of thought and the way that they wanted to teach you. Mm-hmm. And if it was a really great school, it'd probably stay with you the rest of your life. So what women don't understand is when they are sitting in front of me, they're only sitting there with maybe 30% physical strength. That means that they've lost 70% of their physical body strength. That's astounding. So there's two things that happen when women lose strength. They either overreact to situations or they go up inside their head and they live there, like guys used to do, where they're very inflexible. The problem with that is that when women stay up in their intellectual mind 24 hours a day, they actually weaken their immune system. So in a prescription strength training, instead of, and it's a different energy because the energy comes from inside out, okay? So let's go back to how a woman's mind could be impacted with too much stress. In their head, they're thinking. So they're thinking at work, okay? Then if they have children, the dynamics of the relationship will change. I can explain that. Mm-hmm. They're continuously, they're continuously adding stress or the thought. In other words, they can't turn off their thinking. They're always, even when they go to sleep, they're thinking. Okay, so now they decide to do an exercise program and they, let's say they hire a personal trainer. Okay, what energy are they working on? They're working on, come on, let's do more. See, they're not doing something, it's analogy I would give that might make sense if you, and they're both valuable treatments. If you go to a chiropractor, their way of dealing with things is sometimes x-rays. Then they try to tell you they're going to remove the obtrusions or the subluxations in your vertebrae. Okay. But on the other hand, you have acupuncture. The acupuncture in Eastern medicine is a less invasive of energy. There's no hands-on cracking. They have a needle that hopefully will be put in the right meridian to treat whatever is happening. In chiropractic, they do have a science and they do know what they're doing, but it's a more invasive technique. Okay. What the chiropractor doesn't have is they don't have a strength training program that when the person has an adjustment, they will go immediately to a qualified gym and do a program so that they could either develop or strengthen the surrounding muscles that are holding the vertebrae in place. Chiropractors' business, just like personal training business, is to make money. Now, I know people love their chiropractor. They have you come in. They spend a lot of time filling out papers. Okay, so that's so they can spend time seeing other people. Then they do maybe a minor adjustment or a massage, and then they put you on a table that usually will bruise your vertebrae because they don't have an up-to-date table that accommodates them properly like a new iPhone. So it's the same thing of going to a personal trainer. When they go to the personal trainer, the thing what will happen is that they're doing exercise usually has nothing to do with their body. So in the prescription strength training program, what enhances our relationships is gives the male or the female a map to work on their body individually in a very appropriate way. Now, why choose the gym? Because it's the least invasive activity. You know, the gym actually is a fun place to go if you choose the right environment. So when males go to a gym, we're visual. They automatically know when they see a woman working out with weights, she just might get a better butt. Also, the exercises are very pleasing to, I see men, women, even if they're not in that frame of mind, they go to the gym because it's youth, it's a healthy environment. There's nobody fighting. They're all doing something. It's like building little houses. It's kind of interesting. It's actually like going to a circus. It's kind of like fun how people do different methods of training. But when you lift a weight, actually something's going to happen. So it's very cool. So when men see women lifting weights, they're already visualizing a more aesthetic, pleasing body. Later on, their skin will get tighter. There'll be more blood flow. And it's very endearing for men to see that. Now, for women, it serves a different purpose. When they go to the gym, they can increase their strength, and that controls their emotions in their body, providing that they're doing that something feels comfortable. So in a body design program, the analogy is this: I'm going to be the shoe salesman. I'm going to get you a comfortable pair of shoes. Okay. When you go to personal training, their object isn't, because I have personal trainers part of my business in a sense, as a subcontractor if I need. And what they do is they're just going to get you to work out. They're not going to go ask you to have a pillow or something like that. So the benefit, the program, what I'm trying to say is that when you choose a gym, it's the greatest activity for a couple to come together. Because in the gym, the man is having a visualization. He's not eyesighted. And the woman is, in my program, is doing something that feels good, that's empowering her and educating her how she can take better control over her body and how she can avoid exercise that might cause her discomfort. Okay? And
yeah.
The important part about that is that it gives women space to be free. See,
Okay,
women need space.
I'm just curious. So So, you're saying a woman gets sort of caught up in their emotions and they're thinking all the time, and therefore when they go to bed, they're still thinking, they get up, they're thinking, they got their to-do list. I mean, my significant other always has to-do list. They're go, 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 go. And I think what you're saying, if I get it right, is when you go to the gym, they're actually able to focus, if you help them, on the actual exercise, which then gets them in their body and allows them to get out of their head and remember that they have a body, and they begin to ground themselves. So they start to feel the motions become endorphins running through their body and give them a sense that, hey, this feels good. I feel like I'm in my body. And is that what you're getting at?
Give that man the gold medal. You got it perfect. And of all the people I've ever talked to, you took everything that I put and simplified it exactly.
Well, that's exciting. That's exciting for a woman then to really get back in her body. I mean, most of the time, like you said, for 75%, you said the population are women, they're not in their body. They don't know what it feels like. They're in their head. They're in their emotions.
Exactly. So the difficult part is when here's something to think about. When they're in their emotions, you can't negotiate anything about what's going on. See, you can't negotiate a feeling. You have to have a question or a thought or something to that manner, and then you can create a solution. So what you just said is 100% accurate. So Stephen Hercy goes to the gym and he looks at all these men, not all of them. There's kids, there's men. It's a good environment. It's a weird environment, but when you have a program, you feel part of it and you don't get lost. You can stop for lunch, you can have a drink of water. It's amazing what people will do to try to have a good body, even if it doesn't make sense. Okay, like I was watching a person yesterday. It was an Asian, and he looked like he was pretty nice looking. Okay, I found out he was like 56. He's doing an exercise, but when I was looking at him, from what he described or who he was, in my back of my mind as I'm saying, why are you doing an exercise where you're doing zero? The exercise has nothing to do with your body. You're not even doing it properly, and it's the right exercise, the wrong pair of shoes for what you want to accomplish. But I see that all the time in the gym. So now we come to the men. There's two things that go on. You have the men in their maybe 50s or 60s or 40s. What happens is they live in a memory of yesteryear. So before they might have lifted weights or they don't lift weights, and they come into the gym, but they can't lift the weights they used to. So what happens is they distort their posture in order to have a workout. 98% of the men are on the wrong machine, killing themselves. And this is what you'll see. Now, what guy in the world would want to be in pain like that? See, when we get older, we are producing less testosterone, and we get into our older years by finding fun things to do. Now, the interesting thing is the women get into their older years by producing more progesterone, which makes them be kind of stiff in a sense that they're like guys were when they're 25. They're coming into the best years of their life if they can get their body to come in contact with them. So the man will say, I can give you a perfect example. You see where I'm coming from. I wish my wife would work out. Really? Well, I just told you, Batista is the highest level teacher in the world. She has a program for women. I tried everything to work out. She's kind of like hopeless. See, that's how they talk about their women. They're hopeless. They won't give the information to their women. You know why? Because it's going to cost them something. See, money, something. Now, why? Now, so which leads me to why do they have that mentality? Okay. What happens is when women have too much testosterone or they're in there thinking too much, and they don't have a balance, they start to be the male energy in a relationship. They start to demonstrate to the men that they're very smart and intelligent. And for most men, men love smart women. The problem with that is because they have no grounding force, they're going to wind up doing all the work. See? So what they've done is they've projected an image. They're not worthy of their men spending money on them. It's kind of a phenomenon. Because
that's sad.
Well, what they don't know is that when men spend money on you, that's the way they track women. Because in a man's mind, if I spent money or they spend money, they think the women owe them. That's how they track them. So what happens is when men start to spend money on you, they fall more in love. Isn't that a phenomenon? So I have a student, I'll give you a story and then we'll put it into perspective. So I have a student, she even talks about it on my website. So she's been a student for a long time, and then of course things happen in life, and now I meet the husband and he's in the gym. But I noticed that he's going to the gym continuously. I mean, he's working too, but his whole life is passion in the gym. He goes to the gym, he actually works out, he has a pretty good physique, he talks to his friends. It's like brushing his teeth. He's made a commitment that when he goes to the gym, he feels better mentally, physically, emotionally. So I asked her, well, where's your wife? She says, I don't know where's my wife is. I talked to her about training, but she don't listen. And you know, he's going into this whole friggin' dialogue. Well, did you ever stop and ask her to say, perhaps it would be a good idea to call Stephen or Batista and discuss where you're at, and maybe you can get back in the program? What he's thinking about. See, he's a selfish man. He's not thinking of his wife. That's where the mistake in a relationship is that women think that the men care. They don't care, because in their mind, it's up to the woman's response. And this is a truth. It's up to the woman to set standards and be able to take care of her own body. It's not up to the man to decide whether she takes care of her body or not. You see? So I talked to him. This is kind of interesting. This is a true story. So now I meet her at an art gallery. And we have a great connection. And I talked to her. She says, I like what you're saying. I want to do it. Okay. But where am I going to get the money to do it? You know, Chuck is pretty stiff on this. Well, I'm not supposed to mention the name. Okay. It's kind of interesting. So anyways, the great part about the whole conversation is she asked me to coach her in changing my dialogue so she appears from a feminine side to negotiate moving a man out of his parking spot and spending money on her. So she goes home and she talks to the husband, and he says, if I hear Stephen Hercy's name one more time, you can leave. Now they've been together for 17 years. It's kind of interesting, huh? So to make it fast for her, I coached her from beginning to end, and that guy went in his pocket and his bank account. He came out with a lot of money and bought her the program. But he swore she'd never do it. He's always bitching, so to speak. Oh, I should never do it. Why did she show up? She's supposed to be here. Because the program you can do on your own time. Okay? But he's busy checking whether she's at the gym at the same time as him. So anyways, she's still in the program. She's looking ravishing and beaming. You know what happened? He went out and bought himself a new car. He now took her on vacation. He spent 5 times more money on her because she set a certain standard and because she's in the gym making herself look more beautiful. Because I remember before she ever started a program, he'd say, you know, I can't stand looking at the cellulite and back of her legs, but I can't say anything. And that's the same thing with most men. When they see women's bodies changing, it's too frightening to say anything, especially if they're holding the money in the relationship. So the women need to understand that it's their responsibility to take some sort of action. And they can take action by changing the dialogue with the way that they talk to men. See, when they don't go to the gym and work on this program, they're both operating from a male position. So they're both bucking heads. So what does male and female relationship look like? A male energy says what he thinks and what he wants. Okay. A woman's energy says how she feels and what she doesn't want. So when you want to have a wonderful relationship in the dynamics, you have to decide who's going to be the male and who's going to be the female. And it can change over the years. Okay. If you're at work, if you're both working, then you're both the same. There's neutrality. There's no difference at work between male and female energy. So like if a man comes to a woman and says, oh, you look so pretty, I love the dress, I would say, Harry, it'd be important to let me know what you think, but right now I need to be going. But, you know, I'd cut them off. Anytime men are at work are talking about feelings or giving you these hidden suggestions on things like that, I can say, I don't know how I feel, but I can tell you what I think. I think you got to go back to your desk and take care of business. You see, that's where sexism comes into the role play. Well, women take it as compliments, but it's a man getting too close, trying to binge off your feminine side. So when you have a loving relationship, you can enhance it by each person having a separate program. Okay, so what happens is you'll see a man come into the gym, you'll see a woman come into the gym. If they're an older couple, they're both trying to get into the same pair of shoes. Okay, it's ridiculous. Okay, his body needs doctor help and so does she, you know, but he's become the expert. So they're going nowhere. They're just getting older by the minute. If it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, what will happen is the male will, or it could be the female, but one of them will be the predominant person. So if I'm a male bodybuilder, I'm working with my significant other, pretty soon she's going to start looking like me and she's going to be the slave. She's going to be loading the weights for me. She's going to be wasting time, because women actually need their own face, and men, if they put muscle on their body, it doesn't matter how ugly it is. For women in society, it's mandatory to have a pleasant looking appearance. Now, women don't have to be a bodybuilder, and they can even be overweight to experience the benefits of strength training because it's working on your emotions. Okay?
Yeah, it's a whole different process, isn't it? And so if I'm understanding you, you know, if you are thinking of going to the gym with your significant other, you are not the trainer. You are not the person that needs to be in charge. And in fact, it's a whole different process between what you think you should be doing in the gym or what you and your trainer think you should be doing in the gym. It's totally different. What your woman and whoever she chooses to work with is totally, absolutely different. And don't confuse the two. And that's where Batista's program comes in, because it's for women to help them become grounded and remember who they are, and which improves their relationship. This is really fascinating. I mean, this is never really talked about in our culture or discussed. I mean, people just go to the gym and they just wail at it, right? It just like, it's really quite crazy making in the gym. You know, I agree with you. It's like the male is like the peacock standing beside his woman, doesn't want any man to be looking at her and telling her exactly what to do and how to do it. And then he does it, and then he gets her to do it. And, you know, it's just like, it's really strange to watch.
You have it perfect. You got it perfect. So what I'm explaining, so I like to give examples. So in the relationship that I have, okay, so this is what I understand. When women stay in their intellectual mind, they can't stop. So because I'm the international body designer, I'm more, even though it's masculine, I'm more the girl. It's just like a man that's paints, he's the girl. A woman that's an artist first thinks about it and then it comes out as a feeling. So most artists that are women are guys. Okay? So she can sit here for 12, 15 hours without batting an eyelash. She does all the technical, she does the cooking, she does like 1,001 things. But I can tell you from experience that after 3 or 4 or 5 days, she can, well, she can sometimes, I can see that she's getting older by the minute. The stress in her face, the frowns in her hair, everything about her is older. Now, she's learned that at any time she can just leave the business, leave her desk, and go to the gym and work out on a specific program. When she does that, I can guarantee you that she comes back 15, 20 years younger. I tell men you should always enjoy the benefit of a woman working out with weights, because when she comes back, she's going to be 15 to 20 years younger and your life is going to be saved. Otherwise, what happens that goes away from a relationship, she's so stressed out, the way she dialogues or the way she talks to you is going to be very combative.
Right.
And later on in life, because the hormones change, it doesn't mean that you're both different persons. You just need different needs. But a lot of times why people get divorced is because at a certain time in life, they figure, well, we don't have anything in common. Yeah, they have a lot of things in common. They could go to the gym and work out. When you go to the gym and you work out, it's amazing. So what I'm saying is that Batista processes her feelings in the gym. Now, in some particular day, she's doing chest press. So she's doing a dumbbell press, but it's on an incline. The reason that dumbbell pressing for a woman is important is because if she can do the movement and complete it at a heavier weight, the emotions will leave her body, because that's where women mostly store their emotions, is in their chest. They're not like a guy. We have a feminine side. We prick our finger, oh, we're a baby. Women will go and go and go until they actually get sick. So it's not like so it's up to the man. What I'm getting at is it's up to the man to offer the gifts of kindness to women. Honey, I see that you probably would feel better losing some weight. Honey, I'm going to get a program for you, and if you do it or don't do it, that's okay, but it's my gift. See, women don't know that they're going to follow through. So if you put $1, guys do that. They say, well, the program costs so much. Would you go to do it? They're already feeling guilty before they go to the gym. They're going to say no. You're putting negatives in their body because you're not the expert and knows how to overcome their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But so Batista goes to the gym. Yeah, because after 4 or 5 days, you want to talk about fighting? My God, it's like talking to a bully. The way she talks to me and everything, oh, my hair frizzes and everything like that. And then my male testosterone comes out. I'm not physical, but they're like, wow, man, I can't deal with you. And then she goes to the gym. She comes, oh, hi. You can see her, the smile and the radiant skin. And she's like very flirty. She says, oh, hi, honey. I had such a wonderful training. It was a miracle. I didn't want to go, but now I went. You know what I mean? And then she starts cooking. Meatballs and spaghetti, tri-tip, chicken strudel, and pizza 3 or 4 times a week. I mean, and then she's on the computer and she runs the business and she's still calling me sweetie. Isn't that amazing what the gym does? So the greatest gift a man could give a woman is to see her grow younger as she gets older.
By helping her go to the gym.
Yeah, like you mentioned, and you're not the only one. You mentioned that you thought if you took your wife to the gym and she showed you what you were doing, that logically she would think, oh, this is what he's doing. No, she probably looks at you and says, man, this guy's a dummy. He's lifting these studio bars. I see no sense in what he's doing. You understand? Women aren't visual, they're auditory. So when they look at something, they don't. That's a strangest thing that I can tell you, because I'm visual, but women are auditory. So when I'm talking to women, if I'm talking in a certain way, they don't hear. They don't process the information the same way. And I'll tell you one joke. So I deal in relationship self-defense. That's helping women dialogue so they get a better deal in life. That's called relationship self-defense. So 2 examples, and you'll understand. So the person wanted to get married to a multimillionaire. She went through 5 relationships, and even when she went to a therapist, I would be sitting there while they record the session so I could describe what the therapist is trying to tell her. So the interesting part is they separate. Now, there's a multimillionaire there, and it's a very professional person, but she's sleeping in her car, so the guy can't figure it out. So now I negotiate with him, and finally they set up a date. So I explained to him, do not move on her. Okay? So now we fast forward. See? So now they're meeting, and it's kind of like a safe place, and you know, pheromones and things like that. So it's probably chemistry. All of a sudden, he wants to kiss her. He wants all the. So he calls me up. He said, "Oh, the date went really great." She calls me up on the phone. She says, "The guy's a dummy. Doesn't he know when women drink, they knock out their feelings?" See? Okay. Another relation, same relationship. The person calls me up. And she's crying on the phone. This is a multimillionaire too. He wants to go 2 or 3 weeks away to visit his old girlfriend so that he can have a better understanding where he wants to be with me. Oh my God, this is a really bizarre conversation. Okay. Okay. She's crying. So I say, okay, I have a solution for you. By the way, that other woman that I talked about, spend money on program, years ago when I finished with her, he went out and bought her a Mercedes and everything else. And there's a whole story to that too. So anyways, now she's crying on the phone. I say, okay, listen, why don't you go wake him up? And when he wakes up, you say, I know how you can make it up to me. And when he wakes up and he looks at her, he says, I need a new car while you're gone. I swear to God, this happened. They ran to the dealership and he bought himself a Corniche. And she came back. She was all excited. She says, oh, he's buying me a Mercedes. I says, that's not the Mercedes you want. I bet the dealer has that 500 SL with the computer and everything. Like, yeah, he has that one. I said, you're going to go back and that's the one you're going to get. And that's the one she got. She set her standards too low. So I teach women how to call men out on their bluff. It's kind of interesting. But if I talk about Batista, if we looked at her photos when she was like 48 and now she's like 58, she's 15, 20 years younger. Now, I can't tell you the joy of what it is to have an orgasmic relationship, to get into the bed and hug somebody that when she hugs me or sleeps on top of me, like I'm like my pet dachshund, what it feels like. The arms are rippling with life. She cuddles me when she goes, when I go to the bathroom at night and I see her all naked, rubbing the corner, and she's got that contour you see in an artistic sketch. I'm watching her all the time. And I'm trying to tell women that men watch you all the time. We're visual. When we stop watching you, it means that your testosterone level is down and it's possible that the man is going to be unhealthy. So even if you're not sexually performing, you've got to get your vision up. Mm-hmm. So when you go to the gym and you see your woman changing or you see her facials changing, everything changes for the man, for the woman or the man. You see, there's a young couple, and sorry to say he doesn't listen. He's kind of like a jerk. You can see the way their manner. When I say jerk, yeah, there's good guys, bad guys. Okay, so now he's successful, whatever that means, and now he's actually gets married, and later on you see he has a beautiful wife. Now they got married. But they're not doing anything. They fell off the bandwagon. So now he's at 32 years, 36, he's fat. She's got too much intellect going on, and so they're not getting to the gym. So what the prescription strength training program does is it gives you the map that you just pick it up, get in the car, go to the place of environment and execute it. And you could, even if you did it once a week, it'll stay with you, the feelings, for 2 or 3 weeks because it was the right pair of shoes. Your body has memory. Like yesterday, I went to the gym. I have 2 or 3 gyms. I'm the gym detective on YouTube. So the thing is, in gym number 2, there's a seated calf machine that is so mind-boggling. So in gym 1, I used this calf machine. I thought it was okay. And the second one was mind-boggling. So yesterday when I wanted to do my calves, I got on this machine and I didn't do it because it's the wrong pair of shoes. So I don't do things just to exercise. I do things so that it enhances me, so that I show up as a better person. So when men strength train and you arrange their body differently, they offer better opportunities for women. So an example would be, I taught this to Batista, is that if I go into a grocery store like Ralph's and there's 4 or 5 cashiers and you have a coupon or something, you want to get a deal or some flexibility, always go to the cashier where the man has no arms, because it's a feminine part of him that hasn't been developed yet, and he'll pass your coupon. It works every single time. You see that? So you can, what I'm trying to show you is that when you can arrange people's bodies or show them how to be different and things like that, they automatically will change in the way they perceive themselves in life.
So they'll show up differently.
Yeah, they obviously do. Now, you know, in your gym, there are people exercising on a half blue ball.
Yeah.
Well, why are they crawling on the floor? Are they a little mouse?
Yeah.
That's their, it makes no sense. That's their belief system. Personal training business is built on this type of nonsense. It has nothing to do with being a better person. So even when I go to the gym, there are women, and some of them are really, okay, I'll give you one example. Okay, I like doing so. So I'm on the machine. So I told you about words, anger, happiness, all these things. That's how you can have, in other words, when you train on my program, you become a more flexible, tolerant person sometimes. So the guy's hogging the machine. So I wait. Now I finally get the machine. He leaves. And what happens is this woman's all of a sudden back at me and she says to me, "Can I work in?" And she's already telling me how it's going to happen, okay? That you'll do a set, I'll do a set. Okay, so I look at her, and physically she was appealing. You know, she was an Asian woman, but she wasn't fat. She was, you know, tight skinned but scrawny, okay? And I asked, and I was really surprised. She was like 70 years old. I said, man, that woman's doing really good. Last time I talked to somebody, the guy was 82. So, okay, now she gets in this a horizontal leg press, and she does an exercise. So the exercise is supposed to go back and forth. She's doing this with her feet in the wrong position. So in my mind, I'm saying, man, this woman is doing nothing, but she doesn't realize it. So I'm going to practice being a good neighbor. I'm going to give away some ideas. So I talk to her gently and I say, well, what is it exactly you're trying to do? She says, well, I want to build some muscle on my body. So, okay, what is it that you're doing? I'm going to do 2 sets, 30 reps. The trainer over there wrote me a program and told me to do that. I said, here, let me work with you a little bit. So anyways, I work with her and I create the range of motion, her comfort and all that. And then I explained to her that the movement that she's doing is incomplete. That really is the back part of the movement. You see, when the knees come back and your butt is grounded, that's how you strengthen your bones. Man, women, they're doing these partial movements because the machines are basically uncomfortable, or they're made for football players, or they don't know how to ergonomically adjust it. So what happens is she's doing like 30 pounds. So I say to her, that's pretty interesting. Okay, so now that you got everything really under control here, why don't we add a little weight? I put it at 85. And she says, okay, you only do it 12 reps, maybe 9. See, numerals 7, 8, 9, they all mean something. Your body has musical scores. So now she does it. And she just stands there. What she didn't understand was I put an ergonomic support. First of all, there was 5 different adjustments, and I put an ergonomic support in her back. It means it puts your vertebrae in the right curvatures to support your spine. So I knew from experience, as soon as she does it, she's going to find it like a piece of cake, man. Okay, so what happens is, now she stands up and she looks at me. She says, "Oh, I have a new mentor." Okay, teacher, okay. I said, "I don't think so." But anyways, but I'm having fun, you know. What I'm doing is I'm showing her she has an ability to do more for herself than just sit there. And they're all doing that. The weights are insignificant. So now I take the pin and I put it at 130. And she goes, 100. And you see women do that. They go, 100. See, before when I would work personally with women, what I would do is I would put small little plates on that would equal a big plate. So when they visually looked at it, they think they wouldn't do something. Then I would take all the little weights off, put big plates on. They go, "Oh my God, I can't do that." Well, you just did it. So now she gets in there and she just powers this out like nothing. And she wakes up. And then she walks away with her head in the air. "Bye-bye, Mr. Hercy. I'm strong today." See that? But you can't budge her afterwards, because when you try to explain she needs a program, she's in her head. So in her head means, "Oh, it sounds good, but I have no time." So the negative signs of an unhealthy woman is hurrying up, pleasing others, having no time. Those are not the signs of a healthy woman. A healthy woman is a woman that takes care of herself first. She looks inside herself before others, and she learns to receive more than give.
Wow, that's not a lot of women. That's not.
So what I'm talking about is a lot of role playing, or knowing how to play different roles. And the catalyst is prescription strength training, because it teaches you a lot about yourself, that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be in the right pair of shoes or make adjustments. And it's okay not to do the exercise if it's uncomfortable. It means that the seat adjustment is out, something doesn't work properly, maybe the machine is broken, you know? So you learn to rock and roll more in a relationship. So let me give you an example that might help your audience there. So a male thinks like different, okay? So let me put these glasses on. Must be because I'm getting younger. So, okay, I won't go through all things. So a woman's doing this. She's saying his ideas are impractical, inefficient, rigid, and they don't make sense. So what in relationships, they try to fix it, okay? Now the guy is thinking her feelings are illogical, she's irrational, and she's unreasonable. They don't make sense, okay? So it goes on and on like that. So something just happened recently where Batista came to me and she wanted to go to this lecture for real estate. And the guy is charging $1,500 for a few hours for one day's work. So she didn't sleep at night. She was waiting to combat me, to work around where I was going to say no. So when she got up in the morning, she asked me about it. I said, "Well, go for it." I didn't put up any resistance at all, because no guy in the world would understand that. But if you just give women a little freedom and don't question them, and they can learn from their experience, they show up as a better person. See that? I was her hero for about a week after that. But she was sure I was going to say no. I didn't say no. So when you spend a little money to buy your woman a gift of health and youth, there's no better satisfaction in the world than that. But the women need help from the men, because once they go intellectual, they cannot stop. They're not going to say, well, they always say, "I got to just do one more thing." So an example like that, somebody comes to see me. Now it must be 8 or 12 years. This is for real. So the woman shows up. She owns 3 restaurants. And I tried to talk to her for 8 or 10 years. So now she shows up and I ask her, "Well, what was it going on that you would come see me?" She says, "I remember some of the things that you talked about." Well, 10 years ago, I always talk about that. Okay. And she said, you know, I'm going to be 61 in 3 years' time. And I decided to stop giving. And I decided to take action. I decided to take better care of myself. I decided to do this. She's got the perfect dialogue. Okay. What I didn't tell you is she's 5'3", weighing almost 400 pounds. So what she's asking me is the impossible for what she wants. Now I can help her, but it's going to take a little bit of money. She never came back. I still haven't heard from her. You understand? So women can go up inside her head and talk, but if they don't do any action, it's not going to happen. The thing is, you see, when people have things going on in their body, the better thing is not to say how much does it cost. It says, is what you're observing in my body reversible?
Right.
And then this is what I can do. Just think about it. If they have a toothache, they're going to find a dentist. A dentist, if they have a problem with their teeth, you're talking $2,500. My program, whatever level they come in, is sustainable for the rest of their life. We have women on the video that have been associated with my program for 32 years. 3 or 4 of them actually have personal training studios for women. One's still looking as young as when I met her, and she's a full-time personal trainer for one of the gyms in Canada.
And how old is she now? Just out of curiosity.
My God, she must be in her 50s. If I'm 70, she's going to be in her 50s.
I mean, this stuff works. I mean, there's no doubt about it. If you're listening to this show, I can guarantee you that, you know, when I saw the videos of myself, you know, in the gym, I was embarrassed as heck. You know, I looked like an absolute dork. But, you know, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter what you look like when you're doing the exercise, or even really whether you get it right or wrong. Yeah, it's better to get it right than wrong. The thing is, you come out of the gym and you feel better. And when you look in the mirror, you feel better. And when you get up and your back doesn't hurt, you feel better. And when you have more energy to run up the stairs, you feel better. And really, that's the bottom line. If you feel better, who cares what you look like to other people? Like, stop worrying about going to the gym and looking like a dork or being embarrassed. Just go do it. Just get your butt in gear, which is what you're saying. You know, if you're in your head and you know that you need to do this, you know, whether you're male or female, you're 100 pounds overweight, there's a way through. It's a matter of getting out of your head and actually, as one coach said to me, praying with your feet. You got to do something, right? You got to be just in your head. You got to pray with your feet. You got to get to the gym.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We just did, I won't say what it is. It's a world-class actor that's in 8 movies. It's like the hottest thing in the world. So he did call me back. We did have a conversation. So he says, well, you know, I'm a champion and all that stuff. Okay, but you don't know nothing about body design. What is it actually you're really trying to do? And what happened was I never seen him without a shirt on. I only seen him do martial arts and movements. And then yesterday I was on Facebook, of all things, and he was there doing an arm curl on a bench. The guy was fat. It was amazing. He was doing exercise, nothing to do with body except making her fatter. What it means is it's so far away from his vision of how he could be. Well, what happens is men get stuck into their present position because we're supposed to teach, preach, and control things. In today's society, they're teaching men to meditate, to express their feelings, more feminized. But men want to compete and conquer, so going to the gym and strength training is very, very good. But in order for him to achieve his vision of himself, he has to go away from what he knows and what personal trainers teach. Because, well, it's not that they're bad, except that if you want somebody to paint a house, you can find different qualities. But if you want an interior decorator, there's definitely a difference in the way that they proceed. So if I was to say to your audience, I would go to the website and sign up immediately. Because for every moment that you're wasting, you're getting older by the minute. And when people are in their 40s or 50s, it's a very hard call because they're coming from behind. Because not only do you have to have a map, weight is absolutely a factor. So you have to have a prescription of what to do in a gym.
Right.
You can't learn it just by hiring a personal trainer.
So for those of you that are listening to this broadcast, whether it's live or whether it's through Zoom or whether it's a part of the wellness show or whether it's actually a podcast, how to get hold of Stephen and his wife Batista to get you to the gym that would be best for you and the program that's going to bring you the strength training to make you feel 15 years younger, to give you the vitality and stamina, health and wellness that you so greatly desire, which seems to have eluded you. All of that will be in the show notes for you. All the hot links. There's a Facebook page. There's ways in which you can get hold of Stephen and his wife. And so this has been a great show. So much to learn and understand. So before we go, is there any last things you'd like to say about this whole thing about relationships and how orgasmic relationships can begin and not only be enhanced, but beautified by going to the gym?
The tool is strength training, prescription strength training to go younger. When both male or female, or even two females, they have a program or a map so they can get to their destination in a timely manner, whether it's once a week or twice a week, and they work on anti-aging. Anti-aging means they're always working on exercise that form good posture, because bones are living tissue, and when you place a post demand on it, it will give. They're not brittle. And when they work on exercises that create intimate feelings in the body, then when you're in the presence of each other, there's more opportunity to enhance the attractiveness or the desire for one another. Because really strong men like to take care of women's feelings ahead of their own. The only way that can happen is when a woman is strong enough or comfortable enough in a relationship to express her feelings. See, men don't care. When women say what they think and want, men don't care what you think and want. But a good man will care about the feelings. And the reason the feelings are so important is that it is the only way a man can track you is by the feelings you express. Then they know, oh, I'm doing good, I need to do better, you know? And the way, when you're comfortable with yourself, what makes a man feel like a king is when you like the way he thinks. Men always fall in love when women ask him what he thinks or how to solve a problem. When you like his logic, that's how they feel loved, okay? And women feel loved when you buy them gifts and you take care of their feelings ahead of your own. So it's a give and take, but it doesn't happen unless you have a prescription strength program that actually induces these type of feelings into the body. Of course, with a little bit of explanation, you know, we kind of throw it in the mix. So because Batista's my astute student and now full-fledged body designer, a 7th degree level teacher, and she is a personal trainer, so she's talking from experience. Everything unfolds differently for her. So one example, without going on and on, is in the morning, because she's a technical person. So when she gets up, she's on the tech, she's like this, but somebody has to make breakfast. And somebody has to wash the dishes. And I do that. So when I get up in the morning, I say to her, can I offer you some breakfast? I don't say, can I make you breakfast? Can I offer you? When she goes to bed, oh, I could see I'd like her to do that to me. Oh, you look like you have so much stress. Let me squeeze that neck for a minute, okay? And then she go, oh, and then I prepare her supplementation. We won't talk about some of the days, but I prepare her protein, I prepare her thing. And then I can see stress. I think I'll go to the gym. What's my prescription? So I give her the program. She says, oh, I love the music. I'm going here, you know? Well, that car, why don't you take my car? And I go outside and I put it right beside the garage. I adjust the seat. See, I make it like the red carpet for her. See? And she, in turns, goes to the gym, feels like $1 million, says it's a miracle, and then goes across the sprout and brings me home a juicy watermelon so that I can get my, so I wouldn't be dehydrated. Now, the other day when she was working and I asked about a watermelon, she ignored me. You see the dynamics?
Yeah.
When they go process their feelings, they intuitively know how to make you happy. Otherwise, they're too busy. I talk to her, she don't answer me.
Right. That's really interesting. I mean, that's absolutely fascinating, right?
Yeah, it is.
Thank you, Stephen. That was wonderful.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah. Lots to think about.
Lots to think about, and I can tell you that everything that you hear, it works. It's a little bit of a different mindset, but it's profound, and it changes. It really changes the dynamics to, and I want to add a little something, and I know it's been a long show, but you know, it works for both ways. It works the both ways around. Like, for example, when he doesn't go to the gym, you know, he can really get into his baby feeling, and it's almost intolerable too. You know, so I heard him say the things about when I don't go to the gym, but trust me, you know, it works both ways. Sometimes he goes to the gym and I said, oh my goodness, thank God, you know, my life is saved, because I know he's going to come back like more stable and stronger and more in his male, because there is such thing as that male-female dynamic in the relationship. And when there's balance, and sometimes it can change, you know, day to day. It's not like, oh, you're the man, I'm the woman. But, you know, we're both working. And so sometimes that dynamic of male-female changes. But when you're aware of it, and when you kind of learn to rock and roll with it, then things do work out better.
Yeah, give me the image. I remember there's a barometer that can go over the bed, and it says, you know, honey, I'm not this, or I'm feeling this, or whatever. You could do one that says, go to the gym, right?
There you go. Yeah. And you can go to the gym together, and then you can go to the gym individually,
right,
you know, on your own time. But when you go together to the gym and you have your own program, then you can have your own space, but you know that you're both there taking care of yourselves individually. You get your own space, but we still share the experience, even though you're not on top of each other, which is an awesome feeling.
Right. Well, thank you ever so much for this. And thank you, Stephen, for being on the show. As usual, very enlightening, opening our eyes to what's involved in ecstatic relationships and how actually going to the gym can really help make this a better world for you and your loved one. And what could be better than that? So same time, same place next week. Join us for the Esoteric Principles of BodyBuilding. This is your host, Tyhson Banighen. This 13-episode series, The Esoteric Principles of BodyBuilding, The Missing Links to Fitness Consciousness, with your host, Batista Gremaud, Master Builder, Bodybuilder, and Designer, is co-hosted and produced by Tyhson Banighen and his guides, www.thewellnessshow.ca. And see you the same time, same place, every Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. See you then. Bye for now. This 13-episode series, The Esoteric Principles of BodyBuilding, The Missing Links to Fitness Consciousness, with your host, Batista Gremaud, Master Builder, Bodybuilder, and Designer, is co-hosted and produced by Tyhson Banighen and his guides, www.thewellnessshow.ca. And see you the same time, same place, every Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. See you then. Bye for now.